Hey gamers, thanks for tuning in. You're listening to Pashford Murano's audiocast, Road to E3 2015. I recently tried to challenge myself by starting to do audio content, something I'd been meaning to get around to for a while now, and I thought what a better time to do it than arguably the busiest time of the year for gaming news, and that's E3 itself. Which acts kind of like an early Christmas, or a second Christmas. Definitely Christmassy. There's a lot going on in the gaming world, and there's still yet more to come, which is why I thought these would be an awesome idea. They're still a little rough around the edges. As you can see, the still images are kind of still being felt out with the overlays. You might see a weird one every now and then. Don't mind that. As far as everything on the show is concerned, I kind of riff and rant about what I think deserves some attention. And I try to keep these on the shorter side because I think that microbursts of information work pretty well. At least that's the format I've decided on thus far. So we will kind of feel it out and see how it goes. I was going to try to come up with a new jingle. Last time it was kind of just off the cuff. I don't think that any jingle that comes out of my mouth with an instrument accompanied with it is going to be anything but rubbish. But here's a new one. You're listening to Pashford Murano's. There you go. 1, 2, 3. Pashford Murano's audio log. See, that's a tongue twister and a mouthful. That's why you need to edit this. Probably not going to do that. I was going to talk about Guitar Hero versus Rock Band today because I did get exclusive appointments to get hands-on with them and interviews with a team member from either development team, both, in fact, during the first day of the show because I will be covering E3 2015. And even though I am very excited about those games and there's a ton to talk about in regards to the music scene coming back, for some reason... And I know it does seem kind of like a small piece of news, but I think it may signify something larger. I was really excited this morning when I woke up and saw the Ryu Leak for Super Smash Bros. It's not entirely new. There was kind of rumors about the leak a month or two ago when someone uncovered his victory theme in the coding of the game after a patch, which got everyone into a fervor. And needless to say, just a signifier that Nintendo might be supporting Smash with more content is super exciting, as it kind of goes against their historical MO of not only DLC support, but some kind of decent online strategy, which does entail supporting software down the road. This makes sense to me on some level, as since the Wii U's launch, Nintendo's really been struggling. They've kind of gone so far outside the regular gaming realm of operation, at least in terms of Sony and Microsoft, it almost becomes hard to compare them. I'm not sure if how intentional that is on their part and how individualized they are trying to make themselves intentionally, or if their strategies are just leading them astray. But I hope that Ryu, which is a third-party character, which means they had to put in some definite legwork and work with Capcom to get him in Smash Brothers. I hope that's at least a signifier that we will be getting more Smash content, that Nintendo is kind of keeping quiet, at least until E3, to really reveal that Smash will be supported with a ton of levels and new characters, as it's, arguably one of the best games this gen, even though it's on arguably one of the weakest platforms of this gen. Beyond that, they've announced big third-party partnerships this E3, which we kind of hear about every E3. So it's hard to say how hollow those announcements are or how noteworthy they will be. Just because we do this song and dance every time a Nintendo console will launch, and they'll say, we swear we're going to have third-party support. And they kind of do for 6 months to a year, and then it gets screwed up somewhere along the lines, and then we just get Nintendo after Nintendo game. So will they have big third-party partnerships at this E3? Maybe. I mean, if nothing else, they have Sega by their side. They've been real buddy-buddy, which is so bizarre for anyone who grew up in the 90s gaming. But another company nonetheless. Apparently Ubisoft, there's rumblings that they're trying to patch things up with Nintendo, especially after how rough the sales were for a lot of earlier titles like Zombie U, which is a great game, but just underperformed. Wondering if also this Ryu DLC for Smash Brothers is a sign that maybe Capcom is trying to throw their support behind Nintendo. which, makes sense. Capcom hasn't been making the smartest choices either. So perhaps, minds think alike in this case, and they're trying to coop their losses with some dodgy strategies. In that realm, I did theorize, or perhaps just optimistically hoped, that much like Nintendo maybe did with Bayonetta 2 and brought it back from the grave in terms of throwing money behind it, maybe Nintendo went to Capcom and said, hey, look, you have a great property with Mega Man, and we know that perhaps you don't really know what to do with it, but we kind of have that whole platforming situation down to a T. So my optimistic hope is that maybe Capcom will be working with Nintendo on some kind of Mega Man titles. That would be fantastic and amazing. It would be very reminiscent of the old days where, Mega Man, the original Mega Mans were, they performed and are ubiquitous with the Nintendo, or the NES at least, and the Super Nintendo with Mega Man X, and would kind of also mimic what Sega did with Sonic in approaching Nintendo and finding, an unlikely partnership and giving a platform for their own little troubled blue mascot of choice. So, I'm not sure how confident that prediction is. I certainly hope so. It'd be cool to see Mega Man come back. I'm not alone in that. And I think Nintendo and Capcom doing that together kind of makes sense on a weird level. So, if nothing else, Capcom might be one of Nintendo's more ardent supporters, but we shall see. I think Nintendo would also have to work on their online infrastructure or improve it. I've been saying that for years now. And if they're showing kind of a subtle nod to more DLC, that's definitely going to have to happen. The improved online infrastructure, unfortunately, may not even be a possibility until after they team up with DNA on their next platform, the NX, which they won't be showing at E3 just because it's in its infant stages. So we might have to wait for Nintendo to put on their big boy technological pants for another year or so, at least. And that's with fingers crossed. Nintendo's going to be Nintendo at the end of the day, so I'm not sure if any of this is right, but that's half the fun of E3 and speculating like a madman. Also, as far as third-party support goes, another weird kind of pipe dream-esque thing. I'm not much into Skylanders, but I know tons of people are, and Skylanders help to kind of kick off that physical meets digital craze with the figures configuring as in-game players and creating, kind of a hobbyism around the video games themselves. And I'm really surprised Nintendo didn't do that with Pokemon sooner. They did try once, and it didn't quite take off the same way. Pokemon, believe me, as everyone well knows, is like basically the master of merchandising as far as video games are concerned. I mean more in the Skylander sense of using a figure for in-game use. But then they came out with the Amiibos, and those were also crazy popular. They've just had, bit of a restocking issue with those. So another crazy theory is that maybe Activision and Nintendo might be doing some kind of small deal to feature Nintendo characters, their Amiibos, and Skylanders games on the Wii U. That would be a win-win because Skylanders is huge, so Nintendo wouldn't get more press for their Nintendo consoles, which in turn would give Activision more sales because then that would be the only place you could play as Mario or Zelda-inspired characters, or at least unlockables in their games. So that's also a fun theory. At the end of the day, I really hope that Nintendo just takes advantage of basic technological means. DLC, good or bad, is relevant in today's gaming industry. And I think that you can use it wisely and you can use it with a value in mind. And I think games like Smash Brothers and Mario Kart absolutely deserve that kind of continued support. And they're some of the few examples of games where I kind of don't mind being overcharged on. I mean, I love them so much, and I, of course, want, as a consumer, to be treated fairly. But I think that those games are just so well designed, I don't mind throwing a little bit of extra money than maybe I normally would on DLC at them, just to keep getting more content. Because, Wii U, just like other consoles, maybe a little more so, doesn't necessarily always have the best stream of games. So if I can get more content for the games that do exist that I really want to play, I'll be a happy camper. I think that's it for today. Just some basic stuff, some fun speculation. Like I said, I'm trying to keep these on the shorter side. Microbursts, big fan of. I do think the Ryu Leak did kind of take away from a little bit of the magic of actually having Nintendo officially announce it, maybe at the World Championships, or actually they do have that Smash Nintendo Direct happening around the same time that day. I think it's in the morning at like 7:30 or so Pacific time. So they did deprive people of that kind of wow moment, but exciting news nonetheless, and I don't think anyone's ever going to be bitter about the thought of sending a Hadouken Link's way. I definitely won't. I'm going to be all up in that. Link versus Ryu, my dreams have come true forever. So that's it for Pashford Murano's audiocast, Road to E3 2015. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you stick with me through the show. I'll have lots of more fun stuff coming your way. Pashford Murano signing out.